And as you say, this is the game which really matters in the east of England. It is Ipswich against Norwich, Suffolk against Norfolk, and as the locals tell you, it has been far too long since Ipswich enjoyed victory in this game. So long ago, in fact, Jonathan Walters was part of their squad the last time they beat Norwich. Of course, he's gone on to enjoy a long, successful career in the Premier League, but he's back here on loan, and it really gives you an indication of the problems that Ipswich have endured so far this season. Paul Hurst has been given the job of changing the ethos, changing the results, and it's not happened so far. As for Norwich, it's a similar story. Baby steps of progress under Daniel Farker, but it seems to be one step forward and then a number back in retreat. That was the story last season, and so far that's been replicated in the current campaign. The volume goes up around Portman Road as the two sides come out beneath us. Ipswich in their blue and white shirts, white shorts and blue socks. Canary yellow and green for Norwich City. And everywhere you look around this main stand, Matt Holland, there are Ipswich legends. Of course yourself, I can see Kieran Dyer just down there away to our right hand side. And for both of these clubs, they're very proud of their history, but it's thrown back in the face of the current players every time they don't achieve. But at the moment, you've got two great clubs and two poor teams.
Well, yeah, I think that's fair to say. There is a great history and a great rivalry built up over the years between these two football clubs. It's been continuing all week. I mean, even Luke Chambers, the Ipswich captain, reading his notes today, he says, you know, Norwich might have had the better of it in the last 10 years or so, but we're still the bigger club. So the insults are thrown at each other throughout. Looking forward to it. It's a huge game. Great atmosphere as well. The noise when the two sets, the teams came out of the tunnel, it really went up. So looking forward to this.
Well, Luke Chambers must have believed he'd ended Ipswich's long wait for a victory during the game at Carrow Road back in February, which we brought you on TalkSport. He scored in the 89th minute. There was an emotional response from Mick McCarthy in his final derby in charge as Ipswich manager. But then Bartosz Bielkowski made an error, and that resulted in an injury time equaliser scored by Tim Closer. And Norwich were able to retain the bragging rights over their local rivals once again. And Bielkowski has been left out today, not because of what happened on that day, but what's happened so far this season.
Big surprise, big statement from Paul Hurst, and to leave out his number one, and he's been Ipswich's best player over the last 2 or 3 seasons. He has really been terrific. He hasn't started the season off particularly well, but 5 games in, to be left out in a game of this magnitude is a big surprise.
6 changes made by Paul Hurst. Of course, the side lost 2-1 at Hillsborough against Sheffield Wednesday last week. Bielkowski, Donassian, Enciala, who is suspended, Chalabar, Aydun and Harrison are all left out. Donassian has been left out because they have too many loan players involved in the 18. Enciala suspended. Bielkowski, Chalabar, Aydun and Harrison are all on the bench. Gherkin, Spence, Pennington, Schoos, Graham and Walters come in. Pennington, Graham and Walters all signed just before the loan deadline on Friday from Premier League sides. It's Gherkin in goal, Spence, Pennington, Chambers and Knudsen, Nolan, Schoos, Graham and Edwards, Walters and Jackson. Of course, Norwich were involved in the Carabao Cup in midweek. A very impressive 3-1 victory away to Cardiff City with a much-changed team. An 18-year-old, Max Aarons, keeps his place. He scored in that game down in South Wales, and he makes his league debut today. A fullback who came through the academy, and what an opportunity for him, and what a day to make your league debut for Norwich City. Ivo Pinto is not involved in the 18, we presume injured. Lewis Thompson and Tom Tribal, the midfield duo, which were pulled apart in the game against Leeds at Carrow Road when they lost 3-0. They are both left out. Alex Tetti and the Argentinian Emiliano Buendia will try and provide some steel in front of the back four today. It's Krul in goal, Aarons, Hanley, Closer and Lewis. Tetti and Buendia will hold in midfield. Pukki, Leitner and Hernandez behind Jordan Rhodes. How will Jordan Rhodes be feeling? It was often said he was an Ipswich fan, but he won't be today.
He wasn't here that long. I think he only played 10 games and he scored 1 goal. It's difficult always, I think, playing against your former teams. But he's had great success since he's left Ipswich Town, and I think he'll look forward to this one and hope he gets on the score sheet, won't he?
Bright sunshine, warm temperatures at kick-off. The pride of the East is at stake here today on the home of the EFL, TalkSport 2. It is Ipswich who will get the game underway in the blue and white, Norwich in the canary yellow and green. And one of the big local derbies in the EFL Championship is underway. Ipswich playing from left to right in the first half towards the Sir Alf Ramsey stand as Hanley has a hurried clearance. It's headed back into the penalty area by Scoos, and there's a heavy challenge from the Argentinian Buendia right on the edge of the penalty area, central area, and our referee today, Robert Jones, has given Ipswich a free kick 20 yards out.
Well, it's a stupid challenge from Buendia. He was always second favourite. Scoos had got there first, just jumped into the side of him. He's back on his feet, but it's a great position for Ipswich early on.
Cole Scoos back after injury. It's his 206th Ipswich appearance, and they have all been starts. And Scoos is having a look at this free kick, and every single Norwich player is back defending. And what an opportunity here. Nolan could also strike it, the man who followed Paul Hurst from Shrewsbury. He could strike it right-footed, but it may just favour the left-footed strike. And this will give Ipswich and their fans such a lift if it goes in. And it's curled in left-footed, and it's too high in the end. And it was an ambitious effort, and just too ambitious.
Yeah, Jordan Graham on loan from Wolves it was. Eventually he had the shot. It's a difficult one because it was so close, wasn't it, to the 18-yard box, to try and get it up and over the wall. Couldn't quite execute it.
Hanley with an early ball forward, looking for his former Blackburn teammate Jordan Rhodes, who already gets the bird from the Ipswich fans in the Sir Bobby Robson stand away to our left-hand side. That's the end which Dean Gherkin is defending, and it's significant that a number of the fans behind that goal are shielding their eyes from the sun, but Dean Gherkin not wearing a cap as Gwion Edwards tries to come forward on this near side. Jamal Lewis is dragged out of position. He's helped out by Leitner with a drag back, and then Lewis with a back heel, and Norwich extricate themselves very tidily from a difficult situation by the corner flag. Every time Jordan Rhodes gets on the ball, you will hear the boos. But Norwich looking to build on the far side with Buendia, and it's a good ball as well, and there's an opportunity for Aarons to get forward for the first time. The 18-year-old makes 70 yards on the far side the right before he's halted by Luke Chambers, and it will be a throw into Norwich, taken quickly into the feet of Leitner, who wears 10 on the corner of the penalty area. A low ball scuffed in towards the near post is cleared away by Chambers. Norwich tried to win it back, but now Edwards with the early ball forward, looking for the grey-haired Walters, who does well to beat Tetty in the air, but he's unable to direct the ball towards a teammate, and Norwich City have the ball back with nearly 3 minutes played on TalkSport 2, and it's 0-0 in the East Anglian derby.
And it's fast and furious as well. There's no thought from Ipswich about playing short into the back players, through midfield. It's can they hit John Walters up top, get the second balls. That's their early thought anyway.
Norwich, of course, it is their style to try and play out from the back, and Daniel Farke always preaches patience and trying to maintain possession, but they can often be laboured when they get the ball forward, and as a result goals have been fairly hard to come by so far this season. Leitner with the throw-in for Norwich on this near side, one of a number of German players, of course, who followed their manager to Carrow Road. Now Jamal Lewis does well to work the opening with Leitner on this near side, the Norwich left, looking to cause the problem for Spence, and Spence does well to block the cross, and it's another throw into Norwich on this near side. Fantastic atmosphere inside Portman Road, a crowd of around 27,000, and they're watching a break on this near side, which is quickly halted. Onel Hernandez was trying to burst, and Ipswich very quickly go from back to front. There's a chase for Caden Jackson on this near side, but Grant Hanley does well to swoop onto the ball and then bring it forward, and Leitner is caught by Scoos, and it's a free kick to Norwich City. And then Hanley was caught, I think, late off the ball on this near side by Edwards, and the referee just telling both sides to calm down.
Yeah, good defending actually, wasn't it, from Grant Hanley. I think one of the key battles actually could come down this left-hand side. Onel Hernandez has started the season off really well for Norwich. Jordan Spence has got the nod at right back today, which was a bit of a surprise, and he's disrupted that back four. Again, Paul Hurst today. Donatien has been left out, and Spence has come in at his expense, which is a bit of a surprise.
Well, you did the count up before kick-off, and because there's been such a high turnover in playing staff since the start of the season, with all these loan players being brought in, and unlike Mick McCarthy, the chequebook has been opened a bit more for Paul Hurst in the close season. He's signed a number of players, all from the lower divisions, it must be said, and clearly he's not happy with them in the short term.
No, he has spent a bit of money, but he's also sold a few as well.
Yeah.
Webster went to Bristol City for $3.5 million, Waghorn for $6 million, so he's recouped, I think, more than he's actually outlaid.
And now Nolan, one of the players signed from the lower divisions, plays it back towards Pennington, and it's a big start for him today, on loan from Everton, although he has played and scored in a Merseyside derby, and that's his one career goal so far, as a long diagonal ball is played wide to this near side, looking for Guion Edwards, who had a very promising start to his career over the last couple of years at Peterborough, scored on his debut against Blackburn, and he looked to be one of the players in League One who could make the step up.
Well, he started his life at Ipswich Town pretty well as well. I was here the opening day against Blackburn. He was excellent that day, got on the score sheet as well, looks really lively, someone who's very positive, wants to take his fullback on every opportunity.
Now Chambers, midway inside the Ipswich half, works it wide to the far side of Knudsen. It's the early ball forward again. Caden Jackson will chase, but it was overhit, and Hanley will shepherd the ball behind. The Ipswich penalty area bathed in sunshine, but at the other end the shadow of the Sir Alf Ramsey stand is creating some cover and some shade for Tim Krul, the Norwich City goalkeeper, another player of course who has experienced a fairly feisty derby up in the northeast. Now Hanley with a long ball forward. Rhodes will jump, and he's done well to flick the ball on, but he was taking a ride there on the back of Chambers, and it will be a free kick to Ipswich. But if Rhodes can win those sort of balls in the air, he does have runners coming off him.
He certainly does. I mean, they're playing very high up actually. It's 4-2-3-1 for Norwich. Pookie just off Jordan Rhodes, but they've got the two wide players as well, Buendia and Hernandez, very close in for that flick on.
7 minutes played, 0-0 on TalkSport 2 in the East Anglian derby. Norwich 10 without defeat in this fixture. Ipswich's last win came in April 2009. John Stead scored the winning goal. And Norwich have really enjoyed the preeminence over their rivals, but at the moment both really need a victory. Norwich 20th in the table, one win so far this season in the league, which came against Preston. Ipswich only 2 points in 5 games, both of those points coming here in draws against Blackburn and Aston Villa. As Tetty for Norwich, who has been up and down between the Championship and the Premier League since arriving at Carrow Row back in 2012, still on the books, and many people surprised by that. But he could be very effective in this Norwich side today to just offer that calmness and experience shielding the back four. Now Rhodes flicks on wide to this near side, the left. Hernandez will force Spence into the challenge, and Spence goes to ground, and it's a free kick to Ipswich.
Jordan Rhodes has been excellent so far in this game. His movement, his hold-up play. He's not the quickest, he's not someone who's going to run in behind, but he's held the ball up really well, brought his midfield into play, looks up for it.
Well, he never started a game for Ipswich, came off the bench 10 times, scored a single goal, and Roy Keane very quickly sold him on to Huddersfield, where he became a prolific striker right throughout the Football League. Nolan plays the ball high wide to the left-hand side, looking for Walters, who in the end does well to avoid conceding a goal kick. It's a throw-in for Norwich in front of their supporters on the far side. And both these teams saw plenty of expensive outgoings during the summer. Norwich made over £30 million from the sales of James Maddison and Josh Murphy, and that money has not really been spent on replenishing the team. There have been a number of incomings, but for a fraction of the money which was taken in, as Hanley just has a wrestling match on the far side with Walters, and that's a battle which is worth watching. Hanley goes down off the pitch in front of the Ipswich supporters. A goal kick has been given, and Hanley may need some treatment here. And all of that happened some way off the ball.
I think he's just playing to the crowd a little bit. Grant Hanley, vastly experienced. He's calling on the physio though, so maybe there has been an injury.
Well, Hanley, formerly with Blackburn, and Walters on loan from Burnley, although he's barely played there, so there's always a bit of needle guaranteed when former players from those two clubs come together. And he seemed to be caught in the face, Grant Hanley.
Yeah, that's maybe a slight cut on the side of his head. That's what the physio's treating. Good battle that, isn't it, between Hanley and Walters, two wildly experienced players.
And Ipswich, I think, will need John Walters because, as you said in the build-up, they've looked a bit lightweight, they've looked a bit green at this stage of the season.
I think green's the key word. When you've got a lot of players, as they have done from the lower leagues, Leagues 1 and Leagues 2, to try and get them all to step up at the same time, I think it's a big ask. You need a bit of experience in the dressing room. They've got Cole Scouse, they've got Luke Chambers, but John Walters coming in, someone who's been there, seen it, done it, he's played at the very highest level, he's vastly experienced. I think he'd be brilliant on the pitch and off it.
Well, 7 signings from the lower divisions for Ipswich Town, and 5 loanees brought in now from the Premier League. There's been a massive overhaul. Of course, the Ipswich fans, as we know, were very unhappy with the football played by Mick McCarthy, but he guided his team to 12th in the Championship last season, and I think if you offered any Ipswich fan 12th now, they would take it greedily.
Well, the fact they're bottom of the league, yeah, they probably would. 5 games in, it's very early days. I think they're giving Paul Hurst a bit of time. There's been a bit of patience with what he's doing at the start of this season, but he's starting to get results pretty quickly as well.
11 minutes played, Ipswich 0, Norwich 0 on TalkSport 2 with Screwfix. For the latest offers, visit your local store or screwfix.com here when you need us. And Norwich now have a free kick in a dangerous area. It was Pookie the Finn who made a break down the right-hand side, and his run was crudely halted, and it's a free kick for Norwich on the right corner of the penalty area.
Well, Cole Scouse said he got plenty of the ball. I disagree with him. He got nowhere near it. It was a mistake in midfield, actually. I think it might have been Knudsen who lost the ball, and Norwich were counter-attacking. It was a foul probably that Cole Scouse needed to make.
And Leitner is over the free kick. Scouse continuing the conversation with the referee, but this is a really good opportunity, and there is plenty of height forward here for Norwich, notably Closer, who scored in the derby at Carrow Road. Rhodes and Hanley all waiting around the penalty spot, and there's been just a bit of bumping and barging going on as well in the build-up for this free kick. Leitner and Buendia are over the free kick, and Ipswich have 9 players back defending. It's Leitner who curls it in high into the penalty area, and Tetty's header is over the top. Gherkin was nowhere, and Tetty really should have scored.
That is a big chance. As you say, Gherkin rooted to his line, didn't know whether to come or not. I think he thought about it, then hesitated, got stuck on his line, and Tetty out-jumped everybody. And from 6 yards out, he has to hit the target.
And we can hear the Norwich fans responding to that on the far side with their song On the Ball as Gherkin clears downfield. It's flicked on by Walters and then Jackson. Those are the 2 players who will look to try and form some sort of partnership. Ipswich here looking to be 4-4-2 and maybe a bit more solid, but Pookie with the blonde hair on the run now down the left-hand side, finding Hernandez, who will look to come in field onto his right foot, then squares it towards Tetty again, and the challenge came in from Nolan just as he was looking to pull the trigger on the edge of the penalty area, and it's cleared away downfield once again. Now Knudsen with the clearance, but Norwich enjoying a good spell here. 14 minutes played at Portman Road, 0-0 on TalkSport 2. Hanley slides in before Walters to clear it long downfield again. Chambers will have to deal with this. The pressure was coming in from Buendia, and the clearance is made, but only as far as Leitner. Buendia once again. Now Tetty on the far side. It's good football from Norwich, and Buendia pulling the strings, looks to release Pookie down the right hand side, and his low ball pulled back towards the edge of the penalty area. Rhodes was the target. It's cleared away as far as Buendia. And Ipswich can't get a kick at the moment. Tetty with a very deliberate ball to find Aarons. It swung into the area. Volley clear at the near post by Chambers. But it will come straight back. Closer. It's a good ball to pick out Lewis down the left-hand side. Hernandez in support. Edwards makes the challenge for Ipswich. He was then caught by Lewis, and that spell of pressure will come to an end with an Ipswich free kick.
Yeah, a bit of relief for Ipswich, because that was a good spell from Norwich. It's been a fairly even opening 15 minutes, but the last 2 or 3 minutes, Norwich just trying to get the foot on the ball, string a few passes together. And Pukki's made a couple of really good runs actually in behind the Ipswich defence. Late runs, because he's not playing up top, he's just playing off Jordan Rhodes, so he's making those late runs and he's timed them well.
But it's a free kick which Gherkin will take. And this is the start of a very busy day of live sport on TalkSport 2. Following us at 2:30, we'll be starting our build-up to our game in the Gallagher Premiership between Newcastle and Saracens. Saracens, of course, starting their defence of another title in the North East today. And at 5 o'clock, returning also, it is European Matchday Live with all the goals as they go in around Europe this afternoon on into the evening. As Ipswich have a throw-in on this near side. Jordan Spence will take it with 16 minutes played. It's a low ball into the penalty area, poked on by Walters. Jackson looking to turn, but Tetty does the job he's been brought in to do, just gets his foot in and hooks it clear on the far side.
Brilliant from John Walters. Norwich will be furious they've got get the ball, that Ipswich can get the ball into his feet inside the penalty box as easy as they did, but his hold-up play was so good. Flick round the corner to Jackson, almost came off.
It's a throw-in for Ipswich in front of those Norwich fans on the far side. Hurled long in towards that near post. Rising to clear is Hanley, and it will be another throw-in closer to the corner flag. And there's been a real ebb and flow to this game so far in the opening 16 minutes, but it's still goalless on TalkSport 2. Norwich with the best chance so far. Knudsen with a long throw in towards that near post area once again. It's over the head this time of Chambers, and it's gathered quickly by Krul, who tries to clear downfield, and Caden Jackson just came across his path and ensured that wouldn't happen. It was a low scuff clearance by Krul, but it found Pukki just inside the Ipswich half. He then tangles with Nolan, and the free kick is given to the home side.
Good goalkeeping from Tim Krul from that long throw. It's great as a centre half when your goalkeeper comes above everybody and claims it, just relieves a bit of pressure.
Now a header in field is from Edwards, picks out Walters, and Edwards held his run. Walters was looking for him to make the run into the channel down the right hand side, so as a result the ball is straight out of play. But Norwich have to clear with Lewis by the corner flag. On this near side he was looking for Rhodes, but the ball just arcs out as the challenge comes in from Pennington, and it will be an Ipswich Town throw. And Paul Hurst has already been highly critical of his players once this season when they went out to League 2 Exeter in the first round of the Carabao Cup on penalties down in the southwest, as Closer gets a foul, just clipped by Edwards on this near side as he looked to defend. And it was interesting, when you have a go at your players very, very early as a manager, things can go one of two ways, can't they?
Yeah, but from Richard's point of view, they hope it goes the right way. Obviously the results haven't been particularly good at the start of the season. He was bitterly disappointed, I know, by that performance. Not just the performance, but the attitude of his players as well. So I don't think you need to say too much for a game like this one. You know that the players are going to be up for this.
Spence helped out by Chambers, who just lumps it into the crowd on this near side.
I hope the Norwich manager Daniel Farke gets the weather he's expecting. He's got a big long coat on. It's boiling hot here at Portman Road.
He's got
24-25 degrees.
A light brown stroke beige Parker on down there, and Paul Hurst in his light blue polo shirt, really dressed for the conditions. It's about 24 degrees, and unless Daniel Farke's looking to lose some weight, which I don't think he is, he's rather overdressed as Ipswich have a goal kick away to this near side.
Well, it was actually a corner. The referee missed it. The Norwich players were just setting up for a corner. Just totally expected it to be given, and the referee decided against it.
These two sides first met on this day back in 1939 in the old Division 3 South. It was a 1-1 draw, but reports of the match were rather overshadowed by the fact that war was declared the following day, as Chambers plays a long ball forward down this near side for Ipswich, looking for Walters, and they've basically gone back to basics. Ipswich Town. They're trying to be direct, they're trying to play off Walters, offer Jackson some more support. Here is Edwards down the right hand side, twisting and turning beyond Edwards, and there are one or two very good individual battles, but on the Ipswich right and the Norwich left, Hernandez and Lewis against Edwards and Spence, and they've both been prominent so far. And it's Spence who takes the throw in into the feet of Edwards and back towards Spence again, who will try and burst into the penalty area. A drag back to evade Tetty. Edwards drives the cross in. It's picked up by Nolan. Left-footed shot from him, though, was blocked on the edge of the penalty area by Buendia, and it will be a throw into the home side.
Well, it's been 20 minutes of plenty of huff and puff. Neither goalkeeper tested as yet. Norwich had the best chance when Tetty headed over and 6 yards out.
Pookie clears on the edge of the penalty area, and then his second clearance hits Buendia on the backside, and then Buendia fouls Jackson, and it will be a free kick for Ipswich on the far side. And the challenges have been flying in thick and fast so far. It's been rather frenetic, and at times the ball has been the least of the players' concerns.
Yeah, it's been a bit scrappy, hasn't it? Lots of free kicks and niggly fouls given away.
Jordan Graham, who scored his first goal for Ipswich in a loan spell here from Aston Villa back in 2013, will take the free kick out on the far side. Right-footed. Pennington and Chambers are both forward once again from the back for Ipswich. John Walters will surely be a target, and it looks to be zonal marking from Norwich City. Interesting to see how this happens. Graham curls it in, and in the end it was Closer who got ahead to it to divert it behind for a corner.
Yeah, it's well defended. And important touch as well. Luke Chambers had got round the back, totally free as well.
Well, that's how he scored the goal for Ipswich in the derby back in February. I mean, Chambers and Hanley are both good defenders, but a lack of mobility can sometimes be an issue. It's a corner for Ipswich, which Graham will take, and it's driven out towards the edge of the penalty area. Scouse tries to divert a header towards goal, and it loops harmlessly over. And Cole Scouse has not scored since September 2017. Didn't score there, but Tim Closer looks to have a knee problem here for Ipswich. He's clutching his right knee inside the penalty area, and there'll be another break in play here for treatment.
Well, it's both centre-halves now for Norwich who've had the physio on. Right, Hanley, now Tim Closer. Just going back to that corner, it was obviously one off the training ground. Just slightly overhit to Cole Scouse. Meant he had to head it towards goal rather than get the shot away. It worked well.
And both players, or both sets of players, are heading towards the technical area for a water break here. It's a very warm day down there. We're sat high at the back of the main stand in the shadows. It's a fantastic vantage point here at Portman Road, apart from the pillar away to our right hand side, which blocks my view of the penalty area.
You can still see the goal. You can still see the goal though, can't you? Because I was at Forest Newcastle, we had the same problem, but the problem was that it actually blocked the goal, the pillar, so that was an issue. This isn't too bad. It is the middle of the pitch actually that it's blocking.
Yeah, but it's the sort of pillars which we often see at places like Goodison Park and the City Ground. Great old grounds. I mean, this ground has been rebuilt, well, the time you were here during the Premier League. Of course, we've got the cobbled stand across the way. We've got Sir Bobby Robson away to our left-hand side, Sir Alf Ramsey away to the right. And it is a fantastic Premier League stadium. And like Norwich, they have the trappings of a Premier League club, apart from the one key thing.
Yeah. That's true. I mean, it is a great stadium. The two ends are brand new, or were brand new when we were in the Premier League. And what's 30,000 now. I think it's about 26, 27 inside stadium today. So pretty almost full.
Not too bad considering the lack of entertainment which Ipswich have seen here, not just this season but also during the previous year as well, and they got crowds of around 17 or 18,000 for the opening two league games of the season. Of course, everybody comes out of the woodwork for the local derby. One or two patches of empty blue seats, but not too many.
Even the manager's taking his coat off now.
Yeah.
He must have got a bit warm.
He's wearing all black though. It's not the day for all black either. But it's a free kick, or rather a goal kick, which Tim Krul will take. Closer back on his feet. 24 minutes played at Portman Road. 0-0 on TalkSport 2, the home of the EFL. And there'll be reaction to this game and all of the weekend's football tomorrow on TalkSport 2 on Football First with Ray Stubbs every weekday morning at 10 o'clock. Now Knudsen on the far side has support from Graham. into the feet of Caden Jackson, but his first touch was just a bit heavy, and Aarons will step in to make the clearance, and he rather got lucky there, the 18-year-old, because it was not the best of clearances, but it struck an Ipswich man and rebounded out of play for a throw-in.
Well, that's where he's got to be better. Jackson up top, Ellis Harrison likewise as well. He's been playing at the start of the season up front for Ipswich. When the ball goes up to him, it's got to stick, and that's what's been happening for Norwich. Jordan Rhodes, he's been getting hold of the ball.
Now Onel Hernandez with the early ball forward, and Chambers with a challenge on Jordan Rhodes, and Chambers was not quite the last man. It was some way from the Ipswich goal, but the captain may get at least a yellow card here.
I'll tell you what, it looks like he's going to get away with it. It probably should have been a yellow card.
No, the card's out. Luke Chambers is booked, and he knew that Rhodes was the wrong side of him and just hauled him down.
It's not like Rhodes was going to get away from him either.
No.
He's not the quickest, Jordan Rhodes. Just stay on your feet, stand your ground. But he decided to make the challenge and picks up a yellow card.
Well, Jordan Rhodes really is the sort of player who tends to come alive within the width of the penalty area and also in the penalty area. Prolific for both Huddersfield and Blackburn. Now here on loan from Sheffield Wednesday. Leitner with the free kick, high to the far post, Closer rising, and he rose above Spence, but he was unable to divert the header beyond the near post, and it's a goal kick.
Yeah, there was enough pressure, wasn't there, for Jordan Spence to make it so it wasn't a clean header for Closer. Just going back to Jordan Rhodes, I played with a striker here, Marcus Stewart, who didn't rely on his pace either. He wasn't the quickest, he wasn't someone who's going to run in behind all the time, but the movement is so good. Those little 5-yard darts just to get themselves into space.
Leitner volleys it clear, looking for Rhodes again, and Pennington at full stretch is there to head the ball away on this near side. The bodies all come clattering into each other just in front of the Norwich technical area. Leitner believes he should have had the throw-in, but the assistant referee says the final touch was off him, and Jordan Spence will regain possession for Ipswich. His throw down the line, looks for Jackson, but Closer gets there first. Hanley then loops a header up into the air. Scoos with a header forward for Ipswich, but it's cleared away by Lewis. Long downfield once again. Rhodes is there to chest the ball down. There's a coming together between Rhodes and Chambers. Chambers has gone down clutching his face, and Rhodes on his haunches looks to have a problem as well, and both medical teams are being called on.
Yeah, I don't think there's any suggestion of a foul. There's a coming together.
I think Rhodes might have dislocated a finger.
It looks like that might be the case, because straight away he was holding his hand, wasn't he? And physio straight on to sort it out. Chambers, I'm not sure what it is, whether he's been caught in the eye or something with Rhodes' hand. But I don't think it was anything malicious from either player. It was just a coming together.
Well, Chambers looked to be in some real trouble. I mean, maybe Rhodes' finger caught him on the side of the head, but Rhodes was immediately saying he needed to maybe pop the finger back in, which is something they often do out on the field.
Ouch.
Yeah, and that will hurt. And Chambers is now back on his haunches at least, and now back on his feet. And he just shoots a look at Jordan Rhodes as he heads off towards this near side. 28 minutes played. It is goalless here in the East Anglian derby on TalkSport 2 with Screwfix, proud sponsors of the EFL, here when you need us.
I'm not sure whether he's given. I think he might well have given Ipswich the free kick. I don't think it was a foul from Jordan Rhodes, but looks like the decision.
Well, they're still working on Jordan Rhodes' left hand. And you can hear what the Ipswich fans think about it. They've strapped a couple of his fingers together.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what he's done.
Well, the free kick has been given to Ipswich, midway inside their own half. Neither goalkeeper has had a shot to save so far as we approach the half hour on TalkSport 2. Gherkin launches it long downfield. It's flicked on by Edwards, but it will harmlessly dribble out of play for a throw-in to Norwich City by the corner flag. And Jamal Lewis, who already has an international cap with Northern Ireland, will throw the ball long downfield, and many people believe he could be the next player to make a big money move away from Carrow Road, following the likes of James Maddison and Josh Murphy this summer. Pennington with a rather strongly hit back pass to Gherkin, who does well to control it, knocks it back towards Pennington again in the right back area, and he then quickly goes long downfield, but straight to Leitner. Leitner finding Rhodes, who clips it down the line into the body of Spence, and it will be a Norwich throw-in.
He'll be delighted actually in the Ipswich goal, won't he, Dean Gherkin, because look, 30 minutes into the game he's had nothing to do at all, and he's under a bit of pressure really, because he's taken over from Bart Bielkowski in goal, who's been the number one for a number of seasons now.
Well, Norwich have scored in the last 13 derbies here since they lost 5-0 back in 1998. Matt was playing in that. Alex Maffey scored the last Ipswich hat-trick in this fixture.
Bobby Pettis scored twice that day as well.
Now Edwards just stumbles as he tries to bring it forward for Ipswich on this near side, but he's done well to keep the ball in play, but then he runs into trouble. Buendia brings it back. Leitner with the early ball forward. Pukki will chase. Pennington has to make this. It's another back pass, which was just a tester for Gherkin, but he's done well to scuff the ball away left-footed, and it's a throw into Norwich on this near side, midway inside the Ipswich half. Norwich playing from right to left towards the Sir Bobby Robson stand of Portman Road. Two very smart double-decker stands at either end, paying tribute to the footballing Knights, who had such a long and successful connection with Ipswich Town. Now Pukki for Norwich on the left corner of the penalty area, square towards Buendia, has Tetty in support. Tetty with a right-footed shot, dragged it but not too far wide.
Well, again, there's another shot on goal, but the goalkeeper doesn't have to make a save. Neither goalkeepers had to do too much today. In fact, I don't think either of them had a shot to save. Lots of play in the middle of the field. There's been lots of energy from both sides. There's been a bit of a lack of quality really in the final third.
Well, it is 20th against bottom in the EFL Championship, and while it's a fantastic occasion, the game is maybe panning out so far, and many people thought it would, as Knudsen, the Danish international, wins the header, and then Nolan plays it wide to the far side. It's flicked on by Graham. Jackson back towards Graham again, and then Graham tries to find Jackson with a ball down the channel, but Norwich clear, but then give the ball away, and here is Nolan on the edge of the penalty area. It's very, very scrappy, both teams giving it away in quick succession. Now Jackson back towards Nolan again, a clever disguised ball from him. Graham with the opportunity to go beyond Aarons and deliver a cross into the penalty area, and then Aarons seemed to catch him, but Nolan plays a low ball into the box. It's cleared away at the near post initially by Leitner, and then Jackson steps in just to ensure that the clearance doesn't go too far away, and it will be a throw in to Norwich, level with the edge of their own penalty area.
Yeah, Jordan Graham's been a bit quiet on his debut. Came in on loan from Wolves, and he's not had an awful lot the ball this afternoon.
Ipswich with 5 loanees across their 18, with the likes of Trevor Chalabar and Teo Edun waiting for their opportunity once again on the bench. Norwich have a free kick taken quickly. Leitner tries to thread the eye of the needle to release Pukki down the right-hand side, but it's cut out. And now Ipswich come forward with Gwion Edwards coming in field from the right-hand side, bursting into the penalty area. Never quite had control of the ball, and it's shepherded behind by Closer for a goal kick.
End-to-end stuff again. It was an important interception from Cole Scouse defensively, because he made another run, Pukki, from deep in behind. And Scouse made a brilliant interception. Edwards again really positive, looking to get forward.
It's cleared long downfield by Closer again. Controlled well by Rhodes, who backheels it infield, and it's Onel Hernandez, the German player, originally born in Cuba, who looks to build for Norwich. Scored a couple of goals on the opening day, and they came from behind twice to draw at Birmingham, but he loses possession on this occasion. Spence with a throw-in for Ipswich, headed away by Lewis. Leitner, though, unable to pick out the run of Jordan Rose. Ipswich continue to be direct. Jackson holds it up. Knudsen then loses out in the challenge to Buendia, who can bring it forward for Norwich inside the centre circle, but he turns into Scouse. Scouse, though, unable to pick out Nolan, and Tetty has it back for Norwich, and that passage of play really a microcosm of what we've seen so far. Neither side able to exert the quality on the ball when it's needed, but Leitner almost picked out Hernandez with a run down the centre, but Ipswich have it back. Edwards stepping in field, and then was he body checked by Buendia? Not according to the referee. Leitner can bring it forward, and there's space and time here for Hernandez to get in behind Spence on this near side, the Norwich left, coming in field onto his right foot, then outside onto the left, drives the ball across the face of goal. It was neither a cross or a shot in the end, and it's behind for a goal kick.
And that does sum up the game in that little passage of play there, because quality in the final third again. Hernandez has looked one of Norwich's brighter players at the start of the season, and he had the chance there to really take Jordan Spence on. He beat him eventually down the left-hand side, but the quality into the box wasn't good enough.
35 minutes played, 0-0 here at Portman Road. And don't forget, you can join Russ and Hannah 7 a.m. tomorrow morning for Sports Day on TalkSport 2, rounding up all of the weekend's action. And it's going to be a very busy and significant day in various sports coming up, not least here. Leitner gives the ball away though for Norwich, but sliding in was Scouse, who gives it straight to Hernandez. Here is Leitner again, and that's an excellent pass. Pukki is away for Norwich into the penalty area down the left-hand side. Rhodes was square of him, but he went for goal towards the near post. It struck the outside of the post and goes behind for a goal kick. But Norwich with their best chance so far.
That's clearly the danger. Pukki's run some deep again. I mean, it's a wonderful through ball, and it was actually caught, I think, Leitner, when he played the ball through. The referee could have brought play back, but allowed play to continue, rightly so. Twisting and turning inside the box, he probably should have gone to the far post, tried to come at the near post and just caught the outside of it, but that's a real threat. Jordan Rhodes' hold-up play has been really good, and Pukki's runs beyond him have been timed to perfection.
Well, Norwich, with only 4 wins in 21 league games, if you go back towards the end of last season, a single victory so far in this campaign, 2-0 against Preston when they came up with a couple of late goals. And already they have lost 4-3 at home to West Bromwich Albion at home, and 3-0 against Leeds, when really they were pulled apart by Marcelo Bielsa's side. And Ipswich have a free kick for a challenge inside the centre circle, and the referee just telling both sets of players to calm down, because temperatures have been frayed at times during this game so far.
Just comparing the two teams, I mean, it's been fairly even this first half. You just feel as though there's a little bit more threat up top for Norwich than there is for Ipswich. Now those front two, compared to Jackson and Walters at the other end, there hasn't been the same bite up top.
Chambers with the free kick, high into the penalty area, over the head of Walters, and as a result 2 bounces out of play for a goal kick.
I was talking to Nicky Stockwell, obviously a player who played over 600 games, I think, here at Ipswich Town before the game. He does a lot of work in the boxes now, and he was saying the games that he's seen, he said they look like a wild cat without teeth, I think is how he described it. He said there've been lots of energy, they've been closing down, they've been pressuring teams, he said, but there's no real bite up top.
Well, you get that with lower division players. There will be plenty of energy, but do they have the guile to open up championship defences? And that's the problem. Leitner for Norwich, always a fairly languid player, but he steps away from Nolan, away towards the right hand side. Buendia back towards Leitner again, and here is Aarons, the fullback, brought into the play, and Scouse trying to offer some support here to Knudsen as Aarons plays it down the line. Knudson's clearance is blocked, and Nolan will just allow the ball to drift behind, and it will be a goal kick.
Yeah, I mean, that's the question, isn't it? Can they step up and do it in the Championship when they've been played in League 1 and League 2? I think we've seen, already at the start of the season, that there's players capable of it. When there's so many trying to do it at one time, 8 and 9, I think that can be difficult.
Well, they bought Martin Waghorn, or Mick McCarthy bought Martin Waghorn for £250,000 last season. They've sold him for 5 or 6 million to Derby County, and they've gone into the lower leagues and paid £750,000 each for Ellis Harrison and also Caden Jackson, and that really is the gamble. And it could be a very expensive gamble for Ipswich. Here is Walters though, coming forward now with a low shot, right footed in towards the near post, and it's beaten away by Krul.
Well, I just wonder, did that hit the post as well or not? It may well have done. It might have gone through Krul's hands.
Well, it came out of nothing, really, just dropping to Walters on the edge of the penalty area.
Well, I mean, it's given as a Norwich throw-in, so it must have just slammed off the post. I think it just beat Krul.
Now Knudsen plays it forward again into the box. Jackson challenging with Closer. It's headed away as far as Edwards, but the bounce of the ball not really favouring the Ipswich man. Now Scoos nods it forward towards the ginger-haired Nolan. Nolan, though, has given the ball away, and here is Pukki almost releasing Hernandez on this near side. Pennington with a very important touch, and it's flicked on by Edwards now, looking for Jackson for Ipswich, and he forces Jamal Lewis to go to the ground, and it's a throw-in to Ipswich on this near side by the corner flag.
Approaching half-time, not a lot between the two teams. Ipswich finishing strongly.
5 minutes to play in the first half at Portman Road on TalkSport 2. Don't forget Newcastle against Saracens coming up from 2:30 on the opening weekend of the Gallagher Premiership. The throw-in for Ipswich is flicked into the penalty area and cleared away by Tetty. Rhodes tangles with Pennington inside the Norwich half, is unable to win the ball back. Pennington with a high ball forward, and Lewis will have to play this because Walters was applying the pressure to him, and the clearance only finds Edwards down the right hand side, who has shown some promise for Ipswich. Now Scoos with a low ball towards Nolan. It's scooped into the penalty area. Jackson challenging for it. Aarons just hoofs it high into the air, and it will bounce out on the far side for a corner.
That physical side of Ipswich's game coming to the fore, kept it alive inside the 18-yard box. Aarons rather hurriedly made the clearance when actually Tim Krul allowed a shout, would have been able to get it.
But it's a corner for Ipswich on the far side, which Gwyn Edwards will take, and Walters is having a pushing match with Lewis inside the box as it's played short towards Nolan. Norwich don't react, and here was an opportunity for Graham, who goes down under the challenge of Rhodes, and Graham is the player who will be penalised and booked for diving.
I think he knows it as well. Do you know what? Set pieces have been really good from Ipswich. They've obviously worked on them. We've seen one corner to the edge of the box to Cole Scoos when he was free, and another short corner this time into Nolan's feet. Worked it brilliantly. He did go to ground. It looked too easily. Went past his man, and there was a leg dangling, but and he's been booked as well. It did look like a dive.
But why go down in that area when you've got the ball 6 yards out?
Well, because you think you're going to get a penalty. I think that's what he was thinking. I know, I agree. You're in a great position because you're on your left foot, you're about 12 yards from goal, the shot's on if you get past your man, which is what he had done.
Well, that really is stupidity from Jordan Graham, which has been penalised rightly by Robert Jones with the yellow card. It's a free kick taken by Krul, and we have 2.5 minutes to play in the first half at Portman Road. 0-0 it remains in the East Anglian derby on TalkSport 2. Hernandez chasing a long ball forward now for Norwich down the centre, and it's nodded clear by Luke Chambers. It will be a throw-in for the Canaries. Buendia leaves it for Aarons, and the youngster has had a very steep learning curve in the first half on his league debut, but he bobs and weaves inside now towards the edge of the penalty area and into the penalty area. Aarons low into the near post. It's flicked on by Rhodes. It was blocked by Pennington, and Ipswich will clear. Walters, though, will lose out to Closer, and Closer with the early ball forward finds Buendia. Now Rhodes on the edge of the penalty area, quickly transfers it wide to the left hand side, and Hernandez will try and throw a couple of shapes to evade Spence, and he's gone beyond him on the outside, but Spence did well to stick with him. Blocks the cross at the expense of a corner. Yeah,
good defending from Spence. It was much needed as well. Given up in midfield, wasn't it, by John Walters, who's not played a lot of football himself. That's why he's here, because he was not involved at Burnley. He just looks as though he's not played a lot of football as well, not at his sharpest.
Half-time at Parkhead. It's Celtic 0, Rangers 0 in the SPFL, the Old Firm derby. And over on Talk Sport, the Sunday exclusive will be underway in around 10 or 15 minutes time. Commentary today on Cardiff against Arsenal. The Norwich corner is whipped in towards the near post, headed clear. There's a miss kick by Graham. Hernandez now will play it wide to the far side. There is an Ipswich player down, injured with a head injury on the edge of the 6-yard area, so player's been stopped.
Yeah, I'm looking to see who it is. It may well be Cole Scoos.
Yeah, I think it is, yeah.
Experienced central midfielder.
And then another break in play. We've had one or two in the first half. So Cardiff against Arsenal coming up on TalkSport with Edwin Durham, Jim and Ray, live from the Cardiff City Stadium. On Tuesday on TalkSport we start our coverage of the Checkatrade Trophy this season. Sunderland against Stoke under-21s is our commentary game. Then on Thursday the UEFA Nations League gets underway. Germany against France.
This is not good.
Is our commentary game.
Not good for Cole Scouse. I think that this could be serious. He's still down, still being treated. It's the physio Matt Bayard, who was here when I was here, so he's been here a long time now at the club.
Well, 6 minutes of added time have been signalled, and we can add to that.
Yeah, this isn't good though.
Scouse is not moved, and the stretcher is being called for.
It's on, yeah, it's coming on now, look.
And it's one of those stretchers on the back of a golf cart which comes right across the corner of the pitch from the bottom right-hand corner where the dressing rooms are. And it leaves a couple of tyre tracks as it goes through this immaculate playing surface and eventually arrives close to Cole Scouse inside the Ipswich penalty area. And it's Trevor Chalobah who is coming on. Of course, he was one of the players left out, the brother of Nathaniel Chalobah, and the 19-year-old on loan from Chelsea scored in the recent draw here against Aston Villa, and he'll be thrust into this East Anglian derby sooner than he would have anticipated. And they are being very, very careful here with Cole Scouse.
Well, the player's reaction immediately, you know something's not right. I mean, it was Luke Chambers who was signalling to the bench saying that a change needs to be made. Chalobah perhaps a little unfortunate to have been left out. I think he's done okay at the start of the season. Scouse has only trained once this week. He's had a problem himself coming into this match.
And there is a hush around Portman Road at the moment. There are 5 members of the medical team around him, and they are dealing with him very, very carefully. And it looks like a brace has been put around the head and the neck area, which is never good to see. And at the moment the player has not moved at all.
No, this is really worrying. Obviously take every precaution, don't you?
And one of those yellow plastic stretchers is actually being fitted around Scouse before he's lifted onto the larger, sturdier orange one, and will then be carted off back towards the Ipswich dressing room. And both sets of players at the moment are just milling around inside the centre circle. Chalobah and Chambers are just having a word with Paul Hurst, the Ipswich Town manager. But at the moment his thoughts, along with the thoughts of everybody else here, will be with somebody who's been a fantastic professional throughout his career. As we said, all of his games here at Ipswich Town have all been starts. So important for so many managers. And the manner of the treatment just shows the severity of the injury here.
Yeah, it's been down an awful long time now. Chalobah, it was interesting, there was talk about him possibly playing centre half today as well. It's something he did, didn't he, with the England underage teams, I think, in the summer. Played at centre back. He's played at central midfield for Ipswich Town at the start of the season. I think that's where Paul Hurst sees him playing rather than at the back.
They played in the England under-19s and they did not have a good tournament, and they did concede a number of goals during that tournament. But he's usually deployed as a defensive midfielder, and that is where he will play now, presumably.
Yeah, I'm sure. Pennington and Chambers have done quite well. Pennington on debut as well from Everton. He's looked solid alongside the skipper.
Well, he's been farmed out on various loan spells. Matt Pennington has had some brief experience at Everton, as we said before, scored in the Merseyside derby, but That really was a fleeting glimpse of the first team for him. And this first half is going to have a very, very long delay at the end of it. 6 minutes of added time was signalled, and we will probably have another 5 or 6 minutes due to this injury.
Well, we started a little bit late as well. The players were late coming out the tunnel. It was only a couple of minutes before kick-off, or kick-off was due, that the players emerged from the tunnel. Kicked off 2 or 3 minutes late.
Well, now Cole Scouse has been strapped onto the larger orange stretcher, and then will be very carefully lifted onto the back of the golf cart and taken back to the Ipswich dressing room, which is down in the far right-hand corner here at Portman Road, between the two stands away to our right. And his head looks to be in some sort of brace, and there has been no movement from him at all, as 2 members of the Ipswich medical team and 3 paramedics just make sure that they can fit him on the stretcher.
Yeah, warm applause actually from both sets of fans. I can see just about some of the Norwich supporters, and I think everyone will be hoping that he's okay.
And you can hear the applause as the medical cart now makes its way off the field here at Portman Road. A member of the Ipswich backroom team is just perched on the back of it. And the change will be made, with Trevor Chalobah coming on for the stricken Cole Scouse. And we've already had 51.5 minutes in this first half, and we will have at least 6 more minutes.
So it's warm enough, isn't it, without having to play an hour each half?
Well, it's difficult to see how the injury occurred. It was a corner played in towards that near post area. The players just leaped as they always did, and then Scholes landed, and that was it.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's a cut or whiplash or where he's landed on his neck.
Well, we played 7 minutes of added time so far, or more accurately, we've had 7 minutes of added time on TalkSport 2. It is still goalless here in the East Anglian derby, as a long ball is played forward, and the atmosphere has rather been silenced by what happened to Cole Scouse a couple of moments ago. But Ipswich will try and build now, but a loose ball from Norwich comes to nothing as Closer just steps in before Walters and booms it long downfield and out of play for a goal kick. And it's good to see a young player like Trevor Chalobah given an opportunity in the Championship. And I was talking to Gareth Southgate at St George's Park earlier this week for the England squad announcement, and he was very quick to make the point that young players need to play. As a back pass from Chambers was short, Pookie was almost onto it, and Gherkin was alert to the danger to rush outside his penalty area and clear. Edwards now pokes it forward at the other end. Walters will chase. He goes down right on the edge of the penalty area. It was Closer who made the challenge, and it's a free kick for Ipswich, a yard outside the box, slightly right of centre.
I think Hanley actually mistimed his challenge, allowed Walters to get away. It's another good position. They've had one effort from this sort of area early in the half, and now they have another. I think it was Jordan Graham who was given the opportunity first time around, slammed it over the bar. I'd be surprised if he gets another go.
Well, Graham is one of 5 Ipswich players over the free kick. The vanishing spray has been used to try and get the Norwich wall back the 10 yards. And it's a difficult job here for Tim Krul to cover all the angles, because they could go either side here.
Does look like Graham. He's the one who spotted the ball. Everyone else has walked away.
Well, Graham started this game with the free kick, which came to nothing, and he will end this first half with another free kick in a dangerous area. Krul waits on the line as Graham curls it, and the wall does its job. It flicks off the head of Closer behind for a corner.
Yeah, that was good. A little jump, I think, from Tim Closer just to make sure he got his head on it.
25,690 is the crowd inside Portman Road, including 2,022 fans who have made the journey, the 40 miles or so from Norwich. Ipswich corner, high to the far post, and rising unchallenged was Chambers, but due to the pace of the cross he was unable to direct the header towards goal, and it loops harmlessly behind for a goal kick.
I think that was Max Aarons, the youngster at right back who was marking Luke Chambers. That's a mismatch. And Aarons is what, 5'8", Chambers 6 foot.
And he got absolutely nowhere near him. Here is Nolan. We played 10 minutes beyond the 45 in the first half, but due to the injury to Cole Scouse, I would imagine we still have 3 or 4 minutes of added time still to play. It's a throw-in on the far side for Ipswich, which Knudsen will take. He'll look to wing this ball in long into the penalty area. Chambers is forward at the near post, and it's aimed towards him. Walters flicks towards goal, and there was nobody waiting at the far post, and as a result Krul is able to gather, and now Walters has gone down clutching his head as well before regaining his feet.
Well, that would have been a worry if Walters had to go off as well, but he won that header pretty well. As I say, he's not been involved as much as he would like to have done, and he's got Jackson up top. He's playing just off him, trying to link up play, but not seen as much of the ball as he would have liked.
Graham plays it back towards Knudsen on the far side, clipped down the line but only as far as Hanley, and now Teti poked on towards Buendia. There's a neat turn from Pukki. Pukki finds Hernandez on the edge of the penalty area, but good anticipation from Pennington to come out and win the ball back, and Edwards will try and bring it forward now for Ipswich down the right hand side. He had Lewis back pedalling, but Lewis eventually is able to make the challenge, and Norwich should clear. Long downfield from Leitner again. Hernandez will chase. The clearance from Pennington actually ricochets off Spence back into the path of Pennington. Chalabar will head it forward, but the ball had already gone out of play, and it will be a throw-in for Norwich at the end, or towards the end, of what's been a very long first half. 57 minutes played, and it's still goalless here on TalkSport 2. The throw-in will be taken on this near side by Lewis. Buendia comes short, back towards Lewis again. Chalabar, with a very interesting set of dreadlocks, makes the challenge, and as a result it's either a throw-in or a free kick to Norwich on this near side. We'll just have to crane our necks to look towards the touchline. There was a Norwich player down.
Yeah, it's a throw-in. What's happening? He's just lost his boot.
Yeah, Lewis was the player who was down. And there's some shirt pulling going on between Walters and Leitner behind the back of the referee. Lewis will take the throw-in. And now Buendia. It's a good ball from him to open out the play, and now Teti can bring it forward for Norwich. Wide to the far side, and Aarons. Pukki offering the width back towards Aarons again, and Teti now moving forward back towards Aarons on the left edge of the penalty area. Buendia infield to Leitner. It's good football here from Norwich. Will there be an end product? There won't, because after 13 minutes of added time at the end of the first half, the whistle finally goes. It's goalless in the East Anglian derby. Chances have been few and far between. Pukki for Norwich and Ipswich's Walters, both striking the outside of the post, but the half really overshadowed by what looked to be a serious injury for the Ipswich midfielder Cole Scouse, and at half time it is Ipswich Town 0, Norwich City 0. Thank you, Dan. And there don't look to be any further changes to the Ipswich side for the start of the second half. They are the first team to retake the field at Portman Road. I was talking to a member of the Ipswich Town communications team at half time. There's a possibility it could be a back problem for Cole Scouse, because their back specialist was one of the members of the medical team who were out there and maybe just fell awkwardly, and looking at the way he was carried off, it would suggest maybe a back problem.
Yeah, neck stroke back. I mean, it was a worry. He was in a splint, wasn't he, going off the pitch, and we just hope he's okay, because he was down for an awfully long time.
Norwich are back with us as well. So the Ipswich side now is Gherkin in goal, Spence, Pennington, Chambers and Knudsen. Graham, Nolan, Chalabar and Edwards. Chalabar coming on for Scoos, with Walters and Jackson up front. The Norwich side, Krul in goal, Aarons, Hanley, Closer and Lewis. Teti and Buendia are the players holding in midfield. Pukki, Leitner and Hernandez looking to create behind Rhodes. And in terms of clear-cut chances in the first half, we saw Teti's header go over early on, and Norwich are making a change at the start of the second half. There was a problem for Tim Closer, and Ben Godfrey is the player who will be coming on. A central defender who was on loan at Shrewsbury with Paul Hurst, the Ipswich manager last season, and he will slot in alongside Grant Hanley.
Surely that's not been written in the stars, is it? It comes back to haunt his former boss.
Well, he was a very good player in what was a very good Shrewsbury team in League One, who surprised so many last season. And that form prompted Ipswich to give Paul Hurst the job, as Norwich prepare to get the second half underway in canary yellow and green, playing from left to right. Their supporters are at the end in which they're attacking. They are in the top tier of the cobbled stand on the far side. Ipswich in their blue shirts with white sleeves, white shorts and blue socks, as Pukki looks to race forward down the centre in the opening seconds, but his progress is halted by Peddington, and it will be a throw-in on this near side for Norwich City, who did carry the greater threat at the start of the second half.
Yeah, I've been impressed with Peddington throughout this game, and he's read the situation as well. He's got decent pace, he's physical enough as well. And it's obviously a problem position for Ipswich. They're lacking a number of centre-backs, and Nsiala suspended for another couple of games after this one, so he's slotted in really seamlessly today.
Well, Aristote Nsiala was sent off a straight red in the defeat at Sheffield Wednesday. The video evidence, though, looked to make it a harsh decision. Edwards coming forward now for Ipswich on the far side, and he forced Lewis to strain every sinew to keep up with him and concede the corner.
He's got good pace, Jamal Lewis, and he did stick with him pretty well, because, as I say, Edwards is quick enough and is very direct, always looking to go past his man.
Celtic lead by a 1-0 in the Old Firm derby early in the second half at Parkhead. 0-0 here in the early stages of the second half at Portman Road. If you're wondering why we are so late, we had a first half which lasted around an hour due to a number of injuries, notably a serious one for Cole Scoos, which led to a delay of approaching 10 minutes. Leitner just delaying the play by adjusting his boot inside the Norwich penalty area before Ipswich are able to take the corner. It's an outswinger from Graham in towards the near post. Chalabar looked to fasten onto it with a right-footed volley as Norwich cleared, but it whizzed over the angle.
I tell you, he rushed the shot because he had acres of space. It's a poor header from the substitute, Ben Godfrey, straight into the path of Chalabar, unmarked on the edge of the box. Tried to hit it first time, maybe could have had time to have a touch and then get his shot away. But once he decided to hit it first time, he just took it a fraction too soon.
Tim Krul will take the goal kick. Both of the central defenders have split, and in the gap they vacated, Jackson and Walters look to press high, which is why Krul will eventually go long, left-footed, up towards the halfway line. Challenging forward in the air is Rhodes, beaten to it though by Chalabar. Edwards will gather for Ipswich on the far side there right. The early ball into the channel, looking for Jackson. Godfrey with a challenge which doesn't quite clear the ball properly, but Lewis will then clear it forward for Norwich again. But Ipswich have started with some vigour at the start of the second half. It's still goalless here at Portman Road with 48 minutes played on TalkSport 2. Then Nolan slides in with a combustible challenge on Godfrey, and Godfrey had studs raised there, and Nolan has gone down. The home crowd want to see a red card, and there will be at least a card of some colour for Ben Godfrey. Both he and Nolan were teammates last season, but there was no sign of any friendship there.
No, I mean, he's lunged in and the yellow card came out of the referee's pocket straight away. He's tried to defuse the situation. It's going to be a yellow card, that's it. But I'll tell you what, that was a really dangerous challenge. It was studs up, the ball had got away from him and he lunged into Nolan. That was a dangerous challenge.
Well, Ipswich appealed Nsiala's red card last week at Hillsborough. When you look at the freeze frame, it looks to be a very, very harsh decision, but the appeal failed and it's a yellow card for Godfrey.
That looked worse than Nsiala's last week, if I'm totally honest, but he's got away with it.
And Godfrey has had a rather uncertain start to the second half. A poor clearance and a very poor challenge, resulting in a yellow card. But it's a free kick for Ipswich, attacking the Sir Bobby Robson stand end of Portman Road. Graham is over it. Chambers and Pennington are both forward. Chalabar also adding height from midfield as well. Nolan gradually back on his feet. Graham with the free kick, high to the far post, and Tetty just jabs it behind for a corner, and I'm not too sure he needed to make that challenge.
He didn't need to make it. It was overhit, wasn't it, from Graham? Free kick was evading everybody. Chambers was coming round the far post, but he was not going to get on the end of it. Needless corner to give away.
The volume rises around Portman Road. 5 minutes played in the second half. 0-0 in the East Anglian derby on the home of the EFL TalkSport 2. Graham with the corner, an in-swinger. Rising with Spence, Chalabar will fasten onto it. The shot was deflected and it seemed to go in slow motion through the Norwich back four and just wide of the near post for a corner.
Tetty, who made the block, he actually was a bit worried, I think, about going in for the challenge, because inside the penalty box, Chalabar coming onto it, just held his ground and did eventually make the block.
Corner now on the far side, which Graham will take. This one will be an outswinger. Good start for Ipswich at the start of the second half. Graham's delivery high towards the 6-yard area, and the free kick has been given. Tetty cleared anyway, and that small pocket of pressure for Ipswich comes to nothing.
Well, it has been a bright start. It's the second half from Ipswich. The tempo, the energy, it's been right up there. Been quick to close Norwich down in midfield. I think at times perhaps they gave them a bit too much time in that first half, but second half they're right in their faces.
Krul clears downfield. Ipswich currently bottom of the championship in their 17th consecutive season at this level. Godfrey heads it forward for Norwich. Norwich, in contrast, have changed division in 8 of the last 15 years. Now Jackson with a cross in from the far side. The right, looking for Walters at the near post, headed away by Hanley, who is very much the senior man now inside the Ipswich back four, and they manage to clear. Pookie heads in field, and there's a chase over the halfway line for the Finn, but it's gathered by Chambers on this near side. The early ball forward from him. Walters the target, but getting ahead of him was Hanley once again, and you just get the feeling that the longer this game goes on, Walters against Hanley could be the game's key confrontation.
Yeah, it was a good battle in the first half, to be honest. Walters, in 2 or 3 games' time, is going to be a totally different player than we're seeing today as well. Fitness obviously an issue. I know he's had a pre-season, he's played a number of pre-season games, but it's not quite the same as a game of this magnitude and tempo.
7 minutes played in the second half. 0-0 at Portman Road as Lewis charges forward now for Norwich down the left-hand side. Edwards slips as Lewis makes his way into the penalty area. Now Pookie maybe thought about the shot, closed down quickly by Chalabar. It's scuffed clear as far as Tetty, who tried to find Hernandez. There's a complete miss kick by Spence, and the ball will spin away from his slice behind for a corner.
So there's been a lot of those sort of incidents where players have made a little mistake, and the tension, the nerves, because of the atmosphere, there's so much at stake in this derby game.
A corner for Norwich on the far side. Leitner has come across to take it, but in the end it swung in towards that near post area. Hanley flicks on, and Ipswich win the first and then second ball, and Nolan is caught midway inside his own half as the challenge comes in from Hernandez, and the free kick will be given to the home side. And once again the referee, as he's done on so many occasions, just has the palms of his hands down towards the turf, telling people to calm down.
He actually did quite well there. He tried to play an advantage, saw that Ipswich weren't going to get the second ball, brought play back. It's now with the free kick.
Chambers with a long diagonal wide to the far side. Edwards the target. Lewis gets there first, and with his thigh just nudges the ball out of play. The throw in taken quickly. Walters spins and turns, a high hanging cross into the area, fisted away by Krul under pressure from Graham. It's nodded back into the box by Knudsen, and eventually Tetty is able to turn and volley clear. It's quickly returned with interest by Chambers up towards the edge of the penalty area. Not a huge amount of subtlety from Ipswich today, but they are creating pressure. There's a Norwich player down on this near side, Buendia, but the referee is happy for play to continue. A long ball aimed for Rhodes is nodded away by Chambers, and now Pennington will knock it long and early for Ipswich once again. Walters hooks it into the penalty area. Jackson is there, loops a header towards goal, and in the end Krul is able to readjust his feet and make a comfortable claim.
I think you're absolutely right about Ipswich. It has been pretty basic at times. I mean, even then, it's a hopeful ball down the channel. John Walters did well to chase it, loop the ball into the box, and Jackson's headed into the hands of the goalkeeper. But it's fairly route one.
Now Tetty for Norwich, looking to work the ball on the ground. That is the philosophy which was brought in by Daniel Farke. Of course, they finished in the bottom half of the table last season, level on points with Ipswich, who were 12th, as Krul thought about trying to play the ball out from the back. He was quickly pressurised by Jackson, and it's a hurry clearance by Krul into the top tier of the cobbled stand on the far side, and it will be a throw-in for Ipswich.
They've not been able to settle at all, Norwich, in this second half. First half I thought they played quite well, passed the ball quite nicely at times. The second half they're not allowed to settle at all.
But Ipswich have had the fewest shots on target in the Championship so far this season, and so far we can see why. Well, they've not had a shot on target. Here's an opportunity for Knudsen. Wide towards Graham again, who comes in field. Walters looks to operate in the channel and pull Hanley out of position. Knudsen with the early cross in from the left-hand side, which is blocked by Aarons, who's had a difficult start to the second half, the youngster. And now Ipswich will try and build a flick on from Nolan. Jackson inside the area, back towards Nolan again. Knudsen with the early ball, drifted in, and it's cleared by Tetty at the near post. And things seem to open up there for Ipswich inside the area, but nobody had the guile or the know-how to finish.
Well, they can't get out either, Norwich. Even their clearances now, Ipswich are picking all the second balls up, keeping the pressure on, keeping them in their own half.
55 minutes played, 0-0. Walters underneath, another high ball, finding Jackson, who tried to control. He then went down rather in instalments inside the area, and Hanley loops the ball over his own crossbar for a corner.
They've got to stand up to this physical battle now, Norwich. And another long ball into the box. Walters wins the first header. Jackson's onto the second one. They do eventually manage to clear.
And the Ipswich fans in full voice at the moment. Graham will take the corner on this near side. Edwards is the shorter option, but Graham goes longer, high to the far post, headed away though by Hanley. Once again, Knudsen has time to work the ball in field to Nolan. Nolan with a high ball down the centre. Walters heads it back into the penalty area. Edwards is there. Edwards with a shot deflected and in, and Ipswich Town have taken the lead. It's Gwion Edwards with his first goal for Ipswich in a game which matters most to their fans. It took a massive deflection, Krul wrong-footed, but Ipswich's pressure delivers a goal which could help lift them off the bottom of the table and end their long wait for a victory in the East Anglian derby.
Well, I said it, didn't I? That physical battle Norwich are going to have to stand up to, and they weren't able to cope with John Walters at that far post. He's won another big header back into the path of Edwards. Yeah, he gets a bit of luck, but they probably deserved it at the start of this second half for the way they've gone about it. Deflects off a Norwich man. Tim Krul was stranded, had absolutely no chance to get back and make the save. It's all about John Walters. He's been massive for Ipswich at the start of this second half.
Well, we've spoken about Norwich being lightweight really ever since Daniel Farke went there, and they were lightweight there, weren't they?
Very lightweight. I mean, the last sort of 5 or 10 minutes, Ipswich have won every first header, every second header, every loose ball in midfield.
Now a free kick has been given to Norwich inside the centre circle, straight from the kick-off, but Ipswich lead by a goal to nil with 57 minutes played. Ipswich 1, Norwich 0 on TalkSport 2 with Screwfix. For the latest offers, visit your local store or screwfix.com. Here when you need us. Now Rhodes flicks on for Norwich, and they have offered absolutely nothing going forward since half-time. And Daniel Farke will be bitterly disappointed they haven't built on what was a decent showing in the first half and a poor game.
Yeah, I thought they were slightly the better of the two teams in that first period, but now they're on the back foot. Which have been excellent at the start of this second half, and with that goal, listen to the noise. The fans are really up for this now.
Now Jackson on the chase once again on the far side, found by Walters, but Hanley will find his goalkeeper Tim Krul once again. Now the early ball just knocked forward by Norwich, and they've been drawn into Ipswich's game here. Hurried clearances, early clearances, but they don't really have someone like Jonathan Walters at the front to allow the ball to stick and give them a platform.
No, they've got to go back to their game plan, haven't they, where they try and pass the ball through midfield, but Ipswich have hurried and hassled so quickly this second half, they haven't been able to cope with it.
Jackson looking to spin in behind Hanley, was just hauled down by him, and it will be a free kick for Ipswich, 10 yards inside the Norwich half. Leading here by a 0-0 with nearly an hour played on TalkSport 2. Coming up at 2:30 from the Gallagher Premiership, it is Newcastle against the champions Saracens on the opening weekend of the season. And European Matchday Live from 5 will bring you all the goals as they go in elsewhere around Europe this afternoon and into the evening. Chalobah with the free kick for Ipswich, wide to this near side. Knudsen will chest in field to find Graham. Graham's reverse ball doesn't find Knudsen. Norwich are able to clear, but Chalobah steps in before Rhodes, and it will be a throw in for Norwich just inside the Ipswich half on this near side. And Paul Hurst standing arms folded on the edge of the technical area. That could be such a big goal for him as well, as he looks for his first win as manager. Norwich have given the ball away horribly. Now Edwards coming forward for Ipswich down the centre. It's Edwards again with a low shot just wide. He used Jackson as the decoy, but he failed to hit the target when he should have scored.
Oh, it opened up so nicely for him as well. It's an awful square ball from Buendia to Edwards, and when he's going through, I mean, it opens up so nicely for him because the runner Jackson has taken 2 Norwich defenders with him. He's tried to curl it towards the near post, probably chose the wrong option. Jackson's run maybe would have been the choice, and decided to go for goal, couldn't hit the target.
15 minutes played in the second half. Ipswich leading by a 0-0. Walters on the chase again. He's got Jackson inside. It's looped towards Jackson, who will try and get goal side of Godfrey, but Tim Krul sprung from his line and gathered on the edge of the penalty area.
Another ball over the top, and Walters onto it like a flash, just overhit the pass through to Jackson. The first half I talked about the 2 centre forwards and how probably Norwich looked the more threatening. Complete opposite now. John Walters really thrived on that long ball to him, where he's won pretty much every header at the start of this second half.
And they look a partnership, Jackson and Walters, because Walters is coming short and simply helping the ball on for the pacier younger player.
Exactly that, good balance, isn't it? Walters as well, when they're out of possession, just drops into midfield, makes an extra man, but it does look a good pair.
It's a free kick which Dean Gerkin will take, defending the Ipswich goal away to our right-hand side, and he has had very little to do throughout the game. 2 Norwich players go for the same ball on the edge of the area. It breaks to Knudsen now, who comes in field, right foot shot from him. It goes high and wide, but the referee has brought play back for the earlier challenge, and it's a free kick to Ipswich, about 25 yards out, left of centre.
Ipswich fans are enjoying this. It's a long time since they took the lead in a derby here at Portman Road. I think it's 13 times running since 1998 that Norwich have got the first goal here at Ipswich, so they're really enjoying this at the moment. They're not a lot to cheer about in the derby or at the start of this season so far, but in good voice right now.
And they are scenting a second goal, and if they get one, you cannot really see Norwich coming back into this game. Although Ipswich scored in the final minute at Carrow Road last season and still failed to win. Edwards and Nolan are over the free kick, and Edwards will want to take everything at the moment. And there are Ipswich players on either end of the Norwich wall. But Gwion Edwards can strike a very good dead ball. He's already scored 1 deflected effort for Ipswich. And it's Edwards who curls it right-footed over the wall and over the crossbar as well.
Yeah, disappointing really. He gets an ooh and an ah, but it's a wasted free kick, to be honest.
63 minutes played. Ipswich 1, Norwich 0 in the East Anglian derby on TalkSport 2, the home of the EFL. And there is going to be a change made by Norwich, and it's Buendia who comes off, and Lewis Thompson will come on, and he will operate on the right-hand side of midfield and try and offer some support to Pukki and Rhodes. And Thompson with a flick header into the penalty area, his first touch. Now Pukki on this near side, the Norwich right, has support in field. It's Leitner who will pick out the run of Thompson once again, and an excellent ball, and Thompson now will try and deliver a cross into the penalty area, but the challenge comes in from Pennington, and it's launched downfield by Spence again. And now the early ball play forward by Edwards. Caden Jackson will try and get there before Godfrey. Two players who were operating in the lower divisions last season. Now another Nolan infield towards Walters, who looked to play the 1-2 there for either Nolan or the flick on towards Edwards. Found neither, and it's a goal kick.
It actually opened up really nicely for Norwich at the opposite end. He was a little bit slow to react, Lewis Thompson, only just onto the pitch, but then Ipswich are getting very direct. Early ball over the top, Jackson to run onto, he makes the most of it.
Still 1-0 to Celtic in the Old Firm derby, and it's also goalless in the early stages at the Cardiff City Stadium between Cardiff and Arsenal, and there's full commentary on that game in the Sunday exclusive over on Talk Sport. And don't forget, on Tuesday here on Talk Sport 2, we start our coverage this season of the Checkatrade Trophy, Sunderland against the Stoke under-21 side. Then on Thursday it is Germany against France from the Nations League, and commentary of England's first game since the World Cup at home to Spain on Saturday night will be over on Talk Sport. Ipswich here have a throw-in. What a lift this will give the whole club before the international break, and if Norwich don't come back into this game, there'll be a good deal of soul searching for them as well, as Hanley heads away on this near side. And Aarons tries to control, but is unable to do so. Knudsen with the early long throw down the line, looking for Walters. It's headed in field by Hanley. Leitner with an overhead kick into the midfield area. Only finding Pennington. Chalabar tries to knock it wide to the right, overhits it with Edwards coming short. Krul, though, will come outside his penalty area and clear. And at the age of 34, John Walters still has the legs to close him down. It ricochets off his shoulder, and it will be a throw-in to Norwich on the far side, and the crowd love that.
Yeah, well, when he came in, he said, I'm going to be an example. I'm going to be running, I'm going to be chasing, and it's up to the others to follow. That's exactly what he was talking about, chasing lost causes.
Well, Paul Hurst made 6 changes to his side, but maybe more pertinently, there looks to be a change in attitude as well, as Chalabar knocks it forward, unable to find Walters. Norwich will clear, but everything they do is at full stretch at the moment. But here is Pukki, able to get the ball down and drive at the Ipswich defence. He turns away from Chambers, square towards Rhodes. He's got the option of Hernandez, wide to him down the left-hand side. He comes in field, and now Teti tries the shot, which was also deflected, and it's fisted away by Gherkin. A very unorthodox save, but he got the job done.
Well, I just wonder whether he was unsighted there, and whether, I think it was Pukki in front of him. It may have been an offside position when that shot was taken, because he seemed to react really late by putting his left hand down to make the save.
He sort of went down on his haunches with the left hand and fisted the ball up over his shoulder and away. But it's a throw-in for Norwich on this near side, in towards that near post area, headed down and deflected behind, and the corner kick is given. It was Grant Hanley with the header, and it struck somebody from Ipswich on the way through.
Jonas Knudsen, just in front of the goalkeeper, able to deflect it wide of the post.
But Norwich have found their feet, and their fans have found their voices once again. The corner drifted into the penalty area, headed away initially. Teti on the edge of the box will recover, knock it wide to this near side. Leitner is able to recover and cross, but it's quickly blocked by Graham. But here is Aarons now, looking to work his way into the penalty area. Nolan comes back though, tries to shepherd the ball behind for a goal kick, but in the end concedes the corner.
Well, it's Norwich's turn to apply the pressure. Obviously they're chasing the game now, have to come out themselves a little bit now.
And for the first time in the game, there is pressure on Dean Gherkin. The corner in towards the near post is cleared away, and then the overhead kick is flicked on by Hanley, and it's over the top. Hanley 6 yards out, looking to react to Teti's overhead kick, and he lifts the ball too high unmarked.
That's a glorious chance to equalise, and he knows it as well, Grant Hanley. He probably wished that had fallen to anybody but him. Inside the 6-yard box, just stuck a boot out and could only divert it over the top of the bar, but he was in so much space, 6 yards from goal, had time to have a touch.
Skrodan Mustafi has scored the opening goal for Arsenal at the Cardiff City Stadium. They lead 1-0. Commentary on that game over on Talk Sport. Here on Talk Sport 2, Ipswich 1, Norwich 0 in the East Anglian derby on the home of the EFL with 63 minutes played. Walters coming forward again now for Ipswich. Wide on the far side towards Edwards. Edwards with a high lofted ball into the far post. Knudsen with a header, and it looked very good for a second from here, but in reality it was too close to Tim Krul.
Well, not an awful lot of pace on the ball from Edwards, so he had to generate his power himself. And it was a long way out, actually. It would have been a tremendous header to beat Krul from that sort of distance.
Still Celtic 1, Rangers 0 as well in Scotland, as it's cleared away down this near side by Pennington, another Ipswich player making his debut today, and there's a needless shove from Knudsen on Aarons, and then Knudsen kicked out at Aarons when he was on the ground, and the fourth official actually comes onto the field to separate them, and the fracas is quickly diffused, but the referee will have words with Knudsen, and there was no need to do that.
From Knudsen?
Yeah.
No, it was a stupid challenge, to be honest, and we can understand the reaction of the Norwich player. The referee having a quick word with him. Again, using those hands just to say, calm down.
He's done that quite a lot, Robert Jones, and he's done well to only show 3 yellow cards so far. But it's a free kick for Norwich, and they are the side in the ascendancy in terms of possession as we head towards the final 20 minutes. Ipswich 1, Norwich 0 on TalkSport 2 with Screwfix, proud sponsors of the EFL, here when you need us. Leitner is over the free kick, and he will look to launch this high towards the edge of the penalty area. Right-footed now. Hanley is the target, and it's flicked on by Hanley. Pookie, though, unable to gather. It's nodded clear, but Norwich try to win the second ball. Nolan's clearance only finds Hernandez, who will look to try and twist and turn. Nolan and Edwards between him and the goal. Now square to Leitner, 25 yards out. Wide to the far side again in Tetty. And here is Hernandez, who skips away from Nolan towards the byline. Low ball crossed in, and the shot from Thompson was blocked. And now Leitner with a low shot, and it's in! Marcus Leitner with the equaliser for Norwich City, and it was coming, and his first goal of the season may preserve Norwich's long unbeaten streak against their biggest rivals. 1-1.
Well, it probably has been coming. Norwich's best spell of the game. They reacted well to going a goal behind. So at that stage, Ipswich very much in the ascendancy. But they've come back into it the last 10 or 15 minutes, applied the pressure, and that's a terrific finish. He worked it well down the left-hand side, and his initial first touch wasn't a good one. I think he was trying to get it onto his right-hand side. Ended up on his left, and he drills a shot through lots of bodies into that bottom corner. Past Dean Gherkin, who had absolutely no chance. They're right back in it now.
And it really gives you an indication of a side lacking confidence at the bottom of the table, that having scored the goal, they weren't able to build on it.
No, exactly that. I mean, and particularly when you've got a game where you haven't had a good result for a long, long time, the derby, where it means so much to the supporters, and you get that goal, you think, right, let's just hold on to what we've got, just make sure we get those 3 points. And I think automatically you start to retreat a little bit. They've given Norwich a bit more space. They were in their faces the first 15, 20 minutes of the second half, but they've allowed them to come back into it.
Ipswich have to start again here, 1-1. Norwich now eyeing their 11th successive East Anglian derby without defeat. And Paul Hurst will be just thinking or asking why Norwich was suddenly able to take a grip on the game once again after a 10 or 15 minute spell where his side were dominant and looked the more likely goal scorers of a second goal. But Ipswich have a free kick taken by Pennington, high into the penalty area towards the far post, nodded down by Walters, but Leitner is able to clear. Pookie then plays it back in field, but a good challenge lunging in. Edwards on Leitner ensures Norwich go no further, and it's a throw into the Canaries on the far side, their left. And Moritz Leitner, a player who has a fantastic CV, spent time with both Borussia Dortmund and Lazio, and he looks to be the sort of player who may prosper in a side with better players around him, but he's come up with a big moment there on his own. Now Pookie on the chase, on the far side. Chambers rather isolated. Pookie will try and spin and go in behind once again, but Chambers is able to stick with him. But here it's Hernandez for Norwich. Norwich looking good maybe here to try and snatch something again. Hernandez twisting and turning away from Chalobah, jabs it into the area, cleared away at the near post by Spence. But everything for Norwich coming on the far side, their left, as Leitner is now caught on the far side, and it will be another free kick for Norwich in a dangerous area.
Yeah, Hernandez has come to life, hasn't he, this last 10-15 minutes. He's gone past one or two Ipswich players far too easily. He's starting to create an awful lot. He's done well, actually, because a couple of times he has gone past his man. He's cut back into a spare man on the edge of the box.
17 minutes to play, 1-1 at Portman Road. Leitner, the Norwich goal scorer, over the free kick, high towards the far post, beyond Alex Tetty, and that was way overhit. The adrenaline was still pumping there for Moritz Leitner, and it will be a goal kick for Ipswich.
A fascinating last 15 minutes were in store. Now, I mean, it's difficult to call a winner. Norwich probably look the more likely as things stand.
And Blackburn have taken the lead at Bristol City in a 1:30 start in the Championship. Blackburn unbeaten so far this season. Charlie Mulgrew with the opening goal at Ashton Gate.
Yeah, going really well under my former teammate Tony Mowbray and his assistant Mark Venus.
They've really responded after spending a year in League One. Still Arsenal leading 1-0 at Cardiff. Celtic 1-0 up at home to Rangers. 1-1 at Portman Road on TalkSport 2. Saracens' trip to Newcastle starting their title defence in the Gallagher Premiership coming up at the end of this game. Now Edwards charging forward for Ipswich down the right hand side. He can break into the penalty area. He's gone beyond Spence. He was aiming across low looking for Walters, but it's scraped away at the near post by Godfrey, and it will be a throw-in now for Ipswich, and the game was wide open.
Yeah, end-to-end stuff. He was on the stretch there, couldn't quite get the pace on the cross. He's looked so lively today, scored the goal as well.
Throw in on the far side into the path of Edwards, who will try and spin and turn away from the challenge on the far side, which is a good one from Lewis, and it will be another throw in for Ipswich, and Knudsen has gone across from left to right to take it. Ipswich have been at their best when they've been at their most direct throughout the day, and now every single Norwich player is back defending inside their penalty area. Hurled in by Knudsen, looking for Chambers, but Hanley arrives to clear. Pennington nods it back over the top again, and Walters is not onside. Can he deliver the shot? He can't. Jackson's shot is then blocked by Krul, and Ipswich are still looking to press, and there's a foul inside the penalty area, but John Walters there seemed to have half an hour to bring that ball down and score, and he couldn't manage it.
We haven't got the luxury of a replay. Tim Krul's going absolutely ballistic at the assistant on the far side, adamant that he was in an offside position. I've got to be honest, I thought he must be in an offside position. Norwich looked to clear their lines, get out the box, and Walters just stood on the 6-yard box all alone, had time to bring it down. In the end, I think it was Tim Krul who made the block along with the help of a defender. I thought, much like Tim Krul, he must be in an offside position.
If he'd taken it first time, he would have scored.
Yeah, he had 2 or 3 touches when actually a touch and finish was the order.
13 minutes to play. Ipswich 1, Norwich 1 in what's been a very good second half after a fairly average opening 45 minutes, which was disrupted by that injury to Cole Scoos. Now Hernandez is penalised for a challenge on Spence, and it will be a free kick for Ipswich in the right back area, and Hernandez requiring some lengthy clarification from the referee as to why that was a foul, and in fairness to the ref, he gives it to him. Gherkin will now clear downfield, and the man brought in ahead of Bartosz Bielkowski has done okay for Ipswich, had no real chance with the goal. Now there's a push was there on Walters as Godfrey jumps, not according to the referee, and Norwich will clear long downfield, and it will be a throw into Ipswich.
Does that a lot, John Walters.
Just bouncing.
Any sort of a little feel on the shoulder or a little nudge in the back, he goes to ground, tries to win a free kick. He wasn't having any of it though, was he, Robert Jones?
But you can see already that Jonathan Walters will be a very important player for Ipswich Town as long as he's here. Walters now on the far side, forcing Leitner into the challenge. It's a throw-in taken quickly. Of course, Jackson can't be offside, so he gathers in behind the Norwich defence wide on the far side. Now the high ball is delivered into the penalty area, but overhit. Knudsen will try and keep the ball in play. He does so, but in his attempt to turn, he stumbles and it goes out of play, and it will be a throw-in. And there is going to be another Norwich change, and it's Jordan Rhodes who is coming off. We've barely seen him in the second half, and he makes a very pronounced point of applauding the Norwich supporters as he comes off. And Dennis Shrubeni, who scored twice against Cardiff, will come on to replace him.
Yeah, he's been quiet, hasn't he, second half, Jordan Rhodes. I thought he was impressive in the first period. Hasn't quite seen as much of the ball in the second.
But it's not really been his sort of game. You get the best out of him with good service, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a scrappy enough affair, actually. Blood and thunder, typical derby.
And now Graham on this near side. Just over 10 minutes to play on TalkSport 2. 1-1 at Portman Road. Hernandez off and running on this near side, the right now. Pennington drawn out of the centre to make the challenge, but Hernandez rather got his feet in a tangle. As a result, Pennington does make the challenge, and it's a throw into Norwich on this near side.
Excellent recovery again from Pennington, because he looked like he was beaten for pace there.
And Pennington, one of those Premier League players who needs to play because he's 23 years of age. He's been in the Everton system, farmed out on loan on a number of occasions, and sooner rather than later he may have to make the break, as Norwich have another player down injured, receiving treatment.
Well, they've used 3 subs, so they're going to have to get him back on his feet, patch him up and hope he can continue.
It looks to be a muscle problem with the left leg. But Norwich will be keen to get on with things, because they are the side who look to have momentum at the moment.
There's going to be a sub for Ipswich as well, just looking down at the technical area, the board being readied.
Celtic have beaten Rangers by a 1-0 in Stephen Gerrard's first Old Firm derby, so victory for his former manager at Liverpool, Brendan Rodgers. And Grant Ward will be coming on, and it's Jordan Graham, one of the loanees, who will come off.
Is that Stephen Gerrard's first defeat?
I think it is, yeah.
I think it is.
He's dropped a few points, but certainly domestically. Well, Graham comes off, and it's Lewis Thompson who has come off for treatment, and Norwich will be keen to get him back on, and I think that's a point that Daniel Farker is making to him.
Yeah, he's saying you've got about 10 minutes. Can you continue? It looks like he's going to go back on.
But it's a throw-in for Norwich on this near side, taken by Aarons into Pukki, back towards Aarons again, who looks to head towards the byline, but he just clips Walters on the way through, and it will be a free kick for Ipswich.
It looks like a hamstring problem, doesn't it, for Thompson? They're strapping up his left thigh. He's not comfortable, but he's going to have to get through it somehow.
Well, he was playing in midfield, so you would imagine they'll have to play him in the wide area if he's going to be effectively a passenger in the closing stages. Aaron and Walters jump, 2 players at the opposite end of their playing careers. The ball bypasses both of them, and it's a throw-in for Norwich, and Thompson is back on with that left thigh heavily strapped, and he's walking in a rather laboured fashion towards the halfway line. He can barely walk.
Yeah, he's struggling. I mean, ideal situation, you'd have him off, but a derby, evenly poised, at 1-1, not long left. He's going to have to get through it.
Well, he's playing up front now, alongside Hernandez. Here was a long ball played forward for Jackson to chase. Hanley tries to head it back towards Godfrey, and Ipswich win the ball back on this near side. Ward with a low ball into the near post, and Jackson just didn't arrive in time, and Tim Krul is able to gather.
Dangerous ball, did really well there, Grant Ward, because he didn't have a lot of space to work with, just shifted it half a yard and whipped in a dangerous ball to that near post. Tim Krul did very well.
Well, Norwich are basically playing with 10.5 men here, because Thompson can hardly move. He's sort of playing in behind Shabani and Pukki, as it's knocked wide to the far side by Leitner, and there's an opportunity for Hernandez to chase and try and win at least the corner, but Spence was bigger and stronger on this occasion, and it's a goal kick for Ipswich, and we have 6.5 minutes to play. And here is another change for Ipswich, their final change, and it's Caden Jackson who will come off, and Ellis Harrison, another summer signing made by Paul Hurst, who will come on.
Yeah, he's run himself into the ground, Caden Jackson. Constant form up top, and bringing on a bit more pace in Ellis Harrison. You know, you centre half, you've seen off one man, and then someone else comes on, fresh legs with 5, 6, 7 minutes to go.
Well, Harrison scored 14 goals for Bristol Rovers in League One last season, bought for £750,000. Here is Walters. Clips the ball down the line. Edwards will try and keep the ball in play, but Norwich concede the throw-in. Now Nolan back towards Edwards again. Ward waiting on the edge of the penalty area. Nolan maybe thought about the cross, back towards Edwards, who does cross high to the far post. An important header away from Grant Hanley, because Knudsen was coming around the back and Hanley's touch just ensured it went away for a throw-in.
Yeah, not for the first time. Big interception from Grant Hanley.
Knudsen will throw this ball into the penalty area with some distance. Chalabar waits at the near post. Harrison behind him, and in the end it's cleared away by Tetty. Now Pennington just lofts it back over the top. Walters nods it down. Walters again with a shot. He sliced it, and Harrison just unable to fasten onto it inside the 6-yard area, and anywhere will do for Norwich at the moment, as it's hooked away by Aaron's on this near side for a throw-in.
Another first ball at Ipswich win, and another second ball at Ipswich win. He's annoyed at himself, John Walters, because it felt really nicely for him on his left-hand side, just cut across the ball.
Knudsen with a high, long throw into the penalty area. Hanley rising to almost head it back to him, but Pukki gets in the way. His long ball forward on this near side is met by Pennington. Now Nolan tries to step inside beyond Pukki, who knew what he was doing, just raised his left thigh to block Nolan's run, and it's a free kick for the home side.
Finishing strongly, Ipswich. Again, it's the long balls into the box that are causing Norwich problems. Grant Hanley's dealt with most things pretty well.
Now Ward stepping in field beyond Pukki, but it was a back pass of a shot, trundled right-footed into the arms of Tim Krul.
Yeah, that's disappointing. And it did open up for the shot. I suppose he was well within his rights to take it on, but I think he'd been better served trying to cross that to the far post.
4 minutes to play. 1-1 at Portman Road on TalkSport 2. Saracens at Newcastle coming up. A 3 o'clock kick-off from the Gallagher Premiership. And then European Matchday Live from 5. Live sport all the way on this Sunday afternoon. Shabani inside the penalty area now for Norwich. Appeals for handball as it rears up and strikes Nolan, but nothing given by the referee. But Norwich still have the opportunity to bring it forward now. On the far side, their left. And it's Leitner who goes down under the challenge of Chalabar in front of the Norwich supporters on the far side, and it will be a free kick for Norwich. Midway inside the Ipswich half, wide on the left. And every single player is back now for Ipswich. A crowd of nearly 26,000 here today. And they are hushed at the moment because this game could go either way. Leitner, who scored the Norwich equaliser, is back on his feet to take this. Godfrey and Hanley are both forward from the back. Leitner swings it into the penalty area, fisted away by Gherkin, who just for a second seemed to have got underneath the ball.
A good punch as well, because he's got plenty of distance on it.
And it's a throw into Norwich on this near side, almost level with the edge of the penalty area. Aarons will take it. And the 18-year-old will complete 90 minutes and more on his full league debut for Norwich City. Looks for an option, throws it low into the penalty area. Hernandez will try and spin and turn in behind Chambers, but it's back towards Aarons again, who stands up the cross high to the far post. It's nodded away by Spence. Tetty will just muscle Harrison off the ball, and at the moment Ipswich struggling to get a touch, but they will do now because they have a free kick which occurred behind the pillar.
Guess who's won it? John Walters. Again, just waiting for that little bit of contact, going to ground, straight back on his feet, but the referee decided it was a free kick.
2 minutes to play. The Ipswich crowd trying to raise their team for one big final effort here. 1-1 the score. Knudsen clatters the free kick high, looking for Harrison, but Hanley clears the way as far as Chalabar, who lobs it over the top, and Walters again was in behind Hanley, but this time the ball was overhit and it's into the arms of Tim Krul.
Well, there was late drama in the last derby, wasn't there, at Carrow Road?
2 late goals, yeah.
2 very late goals. Are we in for something similar today?
Well, we have 90 seconds of normal time to play. Ipswich led for around 14 minutes. The goal from Gwion Edwards cancelled out by Moritz Leitner. And now Hernandez manages to spin away from Pennington, but Nolan comes across to make the challenge, and it will be a throw-in for Norwich. On the far side, coming short is Pukki. And now the Finn has it once again and looks to turn and try and find Jamal Lewis, but Ipswich will clear. Godfrey's ball forward flicks off an Ipswich head. Pennington then volleys away. Harrison flicks on over the halfway line, looking for Walters, and really Ipswich needed that to be the other way round.
I mean, if it does stay the same, you'd probably say it's a fair result. I think both sides have had good spells in the game.
And now Thompson, limping, does well to play it wide to the far side, and Hernandez. Norwich coming forward now. Leitner into the penalty area, crosses low. The ball may have gone behind, it had, and it was gathered anyway by Gherkin.
They asked him far too much of Leitner, overhit the pass. He's sprinting back into position now.
And the Ipswich defence was almost unlocked by Lewis Thompson, who can barely walk. And he's in agony every time he looks to move towards the ball, but it was his pass which did release Leitner. Now Harrison for Ipswich. Nolan clips it wide to this near side. Knudsen will try and get there before Aarons. He does so. And in behind Aarons was Ward. Back towards Knudsen again. Nolan's got time on the corner of the penalty area. It's a low cross from him, which is flicked away by the head of Thompson. And Lewis should be able to bring the ball away. We are over the 90 minutes at the end of this game. And it's Norwich looking to attack with Jamal Lewis. He's found Pukki, there's no flag. Pukki now looking to break towards the edge of the penalty area. It's a low cross in towards this near post. It was Shaburney, in fact, who played the cross in, but Ipswich are able to clear.
Yeah, I did wonder whether he was offside or not. He'd made one run and had to get himself back on side. It wasn't given. End-to-end stuff, though, isn't it, right now?
And it's a throw-in for Norwich on the far side. Into the feet of Leitner. Now wide to the far side again, and Hernandez, who looks to drive into the box, and they look to work the opening now on the far side, and the low cross in the end is cut out and deflected behind, and Norwich have the corner.
Well, Jamal Lewis actually made a brilliant run from left back to get himself into a good position. Chalabar tracked him all the way, made the block. 2 young fullbacks for Norwich have done well, actually. Aarons on his debut, terrific effort for him, a championship debut, should I say. And Jamal Lewis, also a youngster who only made his name last season, really.
He scored that goal at Chelsea in the FA Cup. Leitner with the corner now for Norwich, right at the end of this game, in towards that near post area. Shaburney is there, fires the ball in from a very, very narrow angle, and as a result it deflects behind, or rather it doesn't deflect behind, it's a goal kick.
Well, how greedy is that? I think he's gone for goal. It's such a tight angle, he just has to lift it back into the danger area. Has a swipe, has a shot, he gets it horribly wrong.
Gherkin with the goal kick. High up towards Chalabar, who's able to flick the ball on. Then Walters with another touch, and Edwards will chase, and he looked to get in behind Lewis. He couldn't do so. It's a throw in for Ipswich. You know what's coming.
It'll be a long throw. That's been the order of the day, hasn't it? Jonas Knudsen making his way over from left back. He's had to go 60 yards. He's getting the ball. He's giving the crowd a bit of a G up. One last chance.
Well, this could be the final chance of the game. Jonas Knudsen will take it. Harrison waits at the near post. Chalabar makes the run into the penalty area. It's hurled in towards Walters, who does flick the ball on. Edwards was in there. Ward with a shot, and it's just wide. And the goal kick has been given. But what an opportunity there for Grant Ward to make himself a real hero.
Oh, I thought that was it. I thought that was in. When it flashed past Tim Krul, I thought it was going to hit the net, and it just flashed past the wrong side of the post. What a chance. Sat up really nicely and caught it sweetly enough.
Krul will clear downfield. We are into the 3rd minute of added time at the end of this game, and the referee says 1 more minute. Headed forward by Thompson over the top. But here is Ellis Harrison now for Ipswich, looking to muscle his way beyond Hanley, and it's a free kick given to Ipswich, and this will be pumped long. Everybody back for Norwich right at the end of this game. The home crowd know this is Ipswich's chance to try and win it.
Yeah, last chance saloon. John Walsh is trying to isolate himself at the far post with Alex Tetty. He'll probably be the target.
It's a very congested penalty area. Knudson's free kick is overhit. It's gathered by Tim Krul, and there is a massive sense of anticlimax for the home crowd.
Oh, it's such a poor ball into the box. You know it's the last chance. It's far too close to the goalkeeper. Floated in, no real pace on it. Easy for him.
Tim Krul clears long downfield once again, and still we play on. At the end of this game, Chalabar heads it forward, but the full-time whistle goes. Warm applause all around Portman Road. It's now 11 matches without defeat for Norwich in East Anglian derbies. Ipswich still yet to win this season, and Norwich will see this as a point gained in the end, coming from behind in the second half. Plenty of passion, but a lack of quality overall. Ipswich Town 1, Norwich City 1.